and start. What's good, Alien Nation? It's your boy Chaos here. Welcome back to the Joe Dark trial. Just kidding. It's still on a Sky trial. We just figured out that Emma killed somebody. And now we have to go from a recess to figure out what's going on. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. It's my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe. What is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal, making the detective run around on duty. On top, you called me here, and I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give you this if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. Yeah, we know the... Is that right, Mr. Wright? Seems so. You can at least say you studied evidence law. Chief Prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? He said if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book. Him? Just need to give a book a thorough read. Doesn't look like that book would do you any good now. All that's left now is the Chief Prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, Detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? While I'm still sitting at the prosecutor's seat despite all these allegations being thrown at me. Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet. What else is there left to do? Your credibility's all been ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of, and Sky was found out she was unwittingly caused a man's death. And now, you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. And we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. His case is too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. And we have just this session to do it, because we are out of time. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for your news, Your Honor. Yes, well, this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think that I have manipulated the witness? I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone's been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. But there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one, to prove that I haven't struck any deals with any witnesses. Very well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has finally found a way to continue the trial. Also, I should read evidence law. No evidence shall be shown without approval of the police department. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to this case on trial. Yes. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it is settled. The defense may now call forth its next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. Defense calls... I have to call Damon, right? Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant, what does he have to do with anything? As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What's this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. He is dead serious. And he is not. So you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant, and I'm acting as the Chief of Police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests you hear your testimony. Oh, righty-o. What's with the grim face? First, let's clean up this SO9 incident. Oh, you mean the time when Lana's sister murdered the prosecutor? Personally, I think it's better pretty made clear already. There's still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware of the court recognizes the police chief has weapons. You're aware, of course, that the police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Jeez, I can read. Sure, take my testimony for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What, is that true? I'm afraid so. The Chief of Police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such action carries with it certain risk. Don't worry, I'm here to hinder you. I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well. The witness may begin his testimony. You're gonna do this guy's voice for a while. That's fun. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make the long story short, we slipped up, and that power outage didn't help either. When we went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, it had nothing to do with the forgery. Yeah, about that. Then when the dark was arrested him, he was lying on the floor unconscious. When I was sitting here flying, it seemed the dark bumped his head. I see everything seems pretty clear cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse testify, then I better him as hard and fast. SO9 incident. Hold it. We're gonna talk to you, buddy. So I recall, the ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say it was a workaholic. Winning the award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably why it spooked Dark. It made him run away like that. Was the defense of Lana Skye also present in the room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it. To make a long story short, we slipped up. The power outage didn't help either. What do you mean you slipped up? So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. We went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky. What's this about a power outage? Oh, the elevator stopped and all of a sudden I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not shocked as Neil was when that knife went through his heart, though. It's not funny. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and the serial killer were in a heap on the floor, tangled together. Dark was also lying and collapsed on the floor. Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls, Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. Apparently, she'd already arranged the crime scene. How can you know that? Because of the victim's body had already been moved. So that means you found the body near Lana's desk. That's right. I think you had said earlier. It was my suit of armor that stabbed the prosecutor. Yes. Anyway, as you can see, it had nothing to do with the forgery. Besides, you switched the order of the room. So you're saying the forgery had already been taking place by the time you arrived at your office. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. You can understand how Lana must have felt, but moving a body and hiding evidence is inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Starring as a witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you better be staring at the court record. Worthy, always the smooth talker. But which piece of Gant's evidence ties Gant to forgery? How did he lie? And nothing to do with the forgery. There is something that you did something. You have this in your desk. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this list, for example. This is the Emma Skye drew a picture on. Was discovered in your desk. Not only that, but a piece of this jar that was sitting in your office was found inside your safe. It's found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you played a part in the legal investigation. Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Oh, here is the defense attorney who may be even rival worthy. So you admit it then, that you were involved in the forgery. Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me, why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office and found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Rightio? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during their investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. In light of the detective's presence, please give us a testimony regarding the pieces of evidence you found in your office. Their relation to the forgery took place at the crime scene. My, kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Jeez. Let's see. What was it now? A jar fragment in the list. For all you know, I could have planted them in my. You could have planted them in my office. Anyway, when you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. They were found after the Dark was convicted. They were worthless. There's no reason I participate in forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. But it did.
Mr. Wright,
Yes, Your Honor.
investigating the crime scene. You should have been more careful to observe protocol.
You understand that I'm the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Dude, I believe I will press charges so you won't make the same mistake again.
My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know...
Alright, Eugene, return, though.
I know. The place, right?
Yeah. Alright. I'd appreciate if you stop making these ridiculous allegations. It's just you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to admit something like that. What? I'll have you know that back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped.
Mr. Wright, what are you saying?
Anyway, you can't prove that you didn't carry the evidence in, can you? You have no proof to the contrary. You're going to need it later. Later, what are you talking about? What else? Am I talking about right here? His fingerprints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, then they would prove this investigation was illegal. Grr. I've never faced anyone slimy as this guy. You can't prove when. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical. Of course, suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence at a crime scene isn't forgery. I'm not through speaking yet, Rightio. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It appeared not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have been suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Oh, won't that be convenient? Right. The chief isn't talking about a possibility as long as you can't rule that out. The remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come on, Rightio, think about it. There's no reason I'd participate in forgery. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember, who was it that murdered Neil?
I'm not sure I care for the word murderer here, but in the end of the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunately demise was Emma Skye.
Oh, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Gantz. At the very least, there is one very large benefit you reap from all of this. Oh, what was this benefit? It would have, of course, been the position you have as Chief of Police. The resolution of the SO9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one, huh? Do you really think that I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SO9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might end up being the one pointed at. So that means there is only one possible motive for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy, you know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There is little out in the open now. Uji, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? Oh, he's changing. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there wasn't any in it for me. Nothing in it for you. Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana, little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people, that's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Ho! That's a good one, Worthy. Given his selfishness, he would have helped out. True, you might not help out for anyone in their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist somebody.
Mr. Wright, it appears you were possibly determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to hand people a hand.
That's not what I mean.
Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Kent may have helped forge evidence?
Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? I think it has to be Lana, right? Chief Prosecutor Lana...
The defendant?
I believe it's quite obvious in light of circumstances. Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, as for Chief Gant, he would also have reason to help Lana if she asked him to. The reason, of course, is self-profit.
Self-profit? What do you mean?
The SL9 incident was resolved. Lana Skye was appointed chief prosecutor of the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant.
But how would the profit from all of this?
He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations.
You mean to tell me that the chief's a formidable appearance? He plays with puppets?
No.
Oh wait, you must mean the puppet is in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind.
Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you can control her.
Rightio, my boy, you have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something.
What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana.
I'm afraid without any proof, though, that amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture.
Unless that is also what happened in this incident.
This incident? Which one would that be?
Of course I'm talking about the murder of Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor had been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if somehow someone had been controlling her.
Where are they? You better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. What do you mean?
What he means, Your Honor, is that the Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. Ooh. Because he killed him!
Order! I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious.
Huh?
This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in a law enforcement agency. To accuse the Chief of Police of blackmail and murder, that is impossible.
Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in the easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. Like, he's the one who decided to go through with this.
Can you prove, Mr. Wright, the Chief of the high-ranking officer was murdered in this murder?
Good question. I can. Regardless of his rank and title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell.
I see, alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and what it better be good. Show us his evidence the Chief's tied to the murder of Detective Goodman.
I would like to point out this record of ID cards.
This is the ID card list.
Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on that list we could not determine on the owner of yesterday. 7777777.
That's right, but there's no way you can prove that. That's my card number.
It's your card number.
But how do you know that?
The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. 7-digit code.
7 digits, you don't mean...
7 sevens. I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7777777. The same as the remaining ID card on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime.
Order, Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations.
That would demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, the court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card.
Chief Gant, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime.
What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me then, when you entered the room, were you alone?
I was going to the bathroom alone, as to do with the evidence room.
Detective Goodman wouldn't happen to be there with you that day, would he?
Of course not. I hadn't seen him in days.
You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant. I'm afraid you just undone yourself. On that day, you have to have met with Detective Goodman.
What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Skye's guilt.
No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting.
In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us some evidence that the victim met with Chief Gant on the day of the crime.
That is tough. How did they meet? Well, it was a lovely spring day. Is it this? I have no idea. He's the chief of police, right? Can I flip and see? I'm gonna need that later, but not right now. I think it has to be this. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. To be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police.
But you were in possession of that report, which means you cannot... Sure, he filed it.
He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day.
You needed to?
Yes, to transfer the evidence out.
Oh.
Detective Goodman took the form from you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied him to the evidence room.
I accompanied him.
There's no other way the murderer and the Detective Goodman could have entered the room.
Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman.
Exactly.
But wait, the chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card.
Yes, now that you mention it, I believe I might have done this. The source. Sorry, but that's not possible.
Didn't he?
According to your records, your card was only used once. You just showed us your ID card earlier. You had really lent it to Detective Goodman. It would have been found on his body. No! Oh, he's blowing up. It would have been found on his body.
Chief Gant, you didn't.
The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as the place to commit a murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course.
You're going forgetting Mr. Wright.
The victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did they manage to move it there?
It was at the police department the entire day, you know.
And everyone was aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal.
You think I just ordered an officer to do it? So, hey, you, take this dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so.
Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. All this time, I thought it was just a red herring of a frickin' screwdriver sitting in my thing. To move the victim body, Chief Gant used this. It was Edgeworth that moved the body. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body.
What's that, a screwdriver? But what does it have to do with this case?
Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. Was this the screwdriver? What is the screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In the case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought it back here. After the ceremony that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's too obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car.
Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car.
Yes, unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have had Mr. Edgeworth transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body of your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. Oh, transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye.
Order, what's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal in the defense's outrageous accusations?
I think back to the photograph Miss Starr took in the prosecutor's office. This was not a photograph of the body being stuffed into the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk.
Chief Gant, please say something. I believe... Your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Rightio, but I'm having lunch with the district attorney at Journal after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it for the early bird special.
But the cross-examination isn't finished yet.
Remember what I told you earlier? Our police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. But that's not a right that can casually be invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
So you're going to just run away after all of this?
Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman, that's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now.
Well,
You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say that again, Mr. Wright. Chairman Gant is the current police chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright...
Your Honor, You have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Goodman murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Sky dispose of his body.
Do I have any concrete proof? I can't let him squirm his way out of this. Just gotta keep the pressure on. Yes, Your Honor, I do have such evidence. Just remember, better proof the Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman. You're on a shadow of a doubt. I don't have any. I don't have that. I've used everything. One knife wound. I don't know what the proof is, man. What is the proof? I already showed that. It can't be that. Is it the... No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. I think this is what I'm supposed to present. But I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it takes... Oh. Maybe I can't prove it, right? I don't have anything that proves it. It's proof as to whether enough to demonstrate the Chief's guilt. I'll let you be the judge.
I am the judge.
All right. What do you think, Your Honor? I think I'm penalized.
I think I'm going to be late for lunch.
Wasn't good enough. Please, Your Honor, give me just consider. And say it once again. They're giving me the option to get out of this. I don't. I don't think I have proof. There's nothing I can show him that has proof, so I don't. There's no use showing evidence I'm not sure of myself. No, Your Honor, at present, I have no conclusive evidence.
Siyaji! In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for allegation against the Chief.
What?
Here's a tip, never gamble on what you can't afford to lose, rightio? It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Haha! Okay, Aji, I'll leave you the rest to you. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer of our nation's law. It's an informant's agency.
Ah!
Oh.
Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her.
Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean?
There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. The lady who knows the truth, it's Lana. The absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method is proof of testimony. But Chief Gann has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness who can be answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right here in this very room.
Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person?
Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling the witnesses today.
Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth Miss Lana Sky. Get your little butt in the chair. She was underground in the parking lot at 5:15 on February 21st. Her task is to dispose of the victim's body in accordance with someone's orders.
Mr. Edgeworth.
The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor.
Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. 15 minutes we will reconvene here to do the defense's testimony. This court is now in
Hold on. Huh?
Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana.
He's talking to Lana.
I don't think that you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder.
This isn't good. Of course, you never support such an outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then, I've got a lunch date to meet. Why are you here? You shouldn't be allowed back in.
Okay, are there any further objections? The court was now in recess.
Now, are we gonna have to cut again? No, it's just gonna... Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief is something else, pals. Detective Gumshoe. Hahaha, I'm not detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry, I've already decided where to work now. At your office. At my office? Sure, I'll take the place that top-knotted girl you used to work with. You couldn't mean Maya. So it looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again, and he always gets the upper hand. It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said.
Chief, it's not the right to be casually invoked. There's certain risks to be considered.
Risks? What do you mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So sure to everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be, if it's the truth. You know what's funny? I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah, and now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man, and she did it just to protect me. Since her appointment as the chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her.
What do you mean?
What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Grant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside, forced herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do. It's all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall.
Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. You want to blame anyone, blame society, pal.
Chief Grant may be able to fool everyone with his forgery, but he can't fool everyone with fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see.
Well, better get back. It's time for the final act.
Emma, why don't you wait? No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. No, you can't. No. No. I don't care. I don't think I care how long this episode is gonna be. Like, I really don't think I care about how long this episode's gonna be. There's gonna be a lot. So, I think we just finish it. Hour or two of power. We're gonna keep going. This is gonna be a long episode. Just because it's the conclusion of this case and I want to get it done. Alright, here we go.
Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, please take the stand?
Miss Lana Sky, you are the chief prosecutor. Sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know what I've done these past 2 years.
Please report. Provide the court with your testimony. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth.
Of course. The truth. Well, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister.
Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant.
Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we got to get Gant. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to his blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found the prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma.
Are you sure about this testimony?
Your Honor, I am confessing to the capital offense. Of course I'm sure. But Lana...
If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this.
That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. What if she's telling the truth? She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah, there's no time to start second-guessing myself.
The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Dude, is Edgeworth even doing anything in this trial? He's just standing there, I think, at this point. No, you didn't. How many years exactly? Ever since I made senior detective. Let's see, that was 24 then, so that would be 5 years.
Detective Gant and Detective Sky were legendary partners. I believe I saw them testify in numerous cases.
She must have been good coming from the same school as Mia. Damien was a respectable detective, that's why. There's no truth to the blackmail theory. But think about it, Miss Sky. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail. You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is useless as idle gossip. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And
I fabricated the evidence of 2 years ago all by myself. Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that instance to ruin her life. What she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. Lana!
So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago.
When I found the prosecutor Marshall's body, rearranged the crime scene. You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor award knife stuck in the victim's body. The broken prosecutor award knife stuck in the victim's body. Which would have been Marshall's. What? The prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's the only situation you dreamed of was possible. The reality is it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change the statement.
You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark?
Something like that.
If that's so, what happened to the murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife.
Oh, that was lying on the floor, but a distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's lying to cover up more lies. All to protect me.
So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to.
Yes. I broke off the tip of the Dark's knife and planted it inside the wound and moved the body. You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's wound?
You moved the body?
Well, why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I thought that's for the other's sake. Why did you plant the knife? Why did you do that? Come on, Mr. Wright, even you should be able to figure it out. It convinces that he stabbed him instead of her.
Well, so this is witness testimony. Mr. Sky's fabricated a knife.
I knew the tip of the weapon found buried in the body would be all the proof we needed. My only motive was to get a Dark convicted. I had nothing to do with Emma. According to your testimony, Prosecution Marshall's knife was the murder weapon, right? Yes, and leaving it that might point blame away from Dark. I thought the most effective way to get him convicted would be to having the tip of his knife found inside the victim's body.
So you buried it inside the victim's stab wound?
Yes, because I hated Dark for what he did. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. She's not lying. So I don't think she's lying. But he did die before she got there. So you rearranged the scene of the crime. Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer? How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it, period. You're willing to risk the death sentence. She's lying. She did it. So I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. In any case, as a prosecutor, I've done what is done as I didn't do what she said. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions. Mr. Wright, my sister's lying. It looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists she fabricated the evidence by herself. There's no way she could have done it all alone. Gotta get Lana to talk more. She's lying and she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. Alright. Fabricated the evidence all by myself. I broke off the tip and planted it inside, then moved the body. I have a full bar, so I can mess around a bit. This is not gonna work. Yeah. Alright, so you're gonna penalize me. I get it. Stop being a penal in the butt. I broke off the tip of Dark's shirt and moved the body. I knew the tip with the weapon found and buried in the body would be all the proof we needed. What about his autopsy report? It does say that. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. I had nothing to do with Emma. Yeah, I gotta find something. What is wrong? She's saying something. I worked alongside Gann for years. No truth to the black myth. I fabricated the evidence years ago by myself. Alright. Let's talk about this. You planted the tip of Dark's room, then you moved the body. But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know. Alright, we already read all this. So why did you move the body? When you showed up on the scene where you were exactly was the victim's body. It was where you deduced it was, by the Chief Gant's desk.
But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there?
The reason for that is simple.
Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Guys moved the body.
Yes, that's really good. The piece of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. My only motivation was to get... Alright. How? Pieces of the jar, you mean...
Yes, that wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body.
So when you first found the body, the jar was already...
Of course, it had already been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear what happened right away. New Marshall was dead and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during the struggle.
I see.
What's the matter, Emma? Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed, but I have a feeling there's more to it than that. There must be a contradiction somewhere. I think I need to present the jar. Right? Because there would be nothing else that would have I mean, we have the cloth has to be a part of this too, right? Let me look at my my stuff. So this cloth has to be part of it. But what? It was evidence for something. It's evidence for this case, I think, right? He kept the most so he had the most legible piece, which was the line. I gotta solve this case somehow. What is the answer? Okay, I think we have to present the jar. I mean, the cloth is gonna come into case later, but no. We gotta get through this dialogue. And so the jar was the contradiction, and the jar that has to be the answer here. It was gonna threaten your plan. How does it threaten your plan? I'm gonna make you talk about that. Miss Sky, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister.
Give me the forgery to see when Neil Marshall was murdered.
If that was true, if that truth were exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I'm compelled to bring everyone's attention. Significant contradiction in your testimony. Contradiction in my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar shattered during the events that threatened my plan." That's right.
You have a problem with that?
It's simple oversight, really. You see, the message on the jar was written with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so, and this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write the message on the jar, it must not have been broken before he died. Yeah. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar.
Order, Your Honor.
It would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you are in the dark as we are, but the truth of which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth.
Very well, the witness may continue her testimony.
We are pushing. We're pushing real hard. I immediately noticed the trace of the blood on the jar. It was dark in the room, but I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were so large, I'm sure I got all of them. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered.
You mean you wiped away you were the one who wiped away the message in blood?
I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was a real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence.
Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination.
There's gotta be something we're doing, right? What is the problem here? So the jar was already broken. It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier.
It certainly looks as feasible as the defense's case,
but not as feeble as the judge's judgment. You were an ace detective who never missed a deal, so do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar in pieces? Normally I would have. But it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. You had time. So you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar. Oh, he did. You definitely did. You're just lying to people. Which is okay, but not great. No, if I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces around them, ground all the pieces around them to dust. Lana, you do that for me? Seems you might make makeup yet. Anyway, I barely just had enough time to move the body as it was. If someone had happened upon the scene, you'd use your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry. I was. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came.
This is rather shocking.
To be safe, don't wipe away the blood. I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened. What do you mean? If you really thought Dark killed the prosecutor marshal, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood. What else could I have done in this situation? Lana, I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything but gather up the pieces. Fragments were large, so I made sure I got all of them. That's a lie. But how could you see the power out? It could have been pitch black in the office. Detective always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I always carry a pocket light and a camera with me. Even I carry a bottle of emergency luminol wherever I go. I never miss anything. I got every last piece. All I think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. So you illegally rearranged the crime scene. Yes, I don't have any excuse for my actions. I'm sorry, Lana. I didn't know. I've treated you so badly all this time. It's not too late. There's still plenty of time to make up. We got to the bottom of this. After we got to the bottom of this. Hello. My monitor just went black for a second. Sorry.
The permanent stain in the history of the prosecutor's office.
More contradictions have surfaced in her testimony. She's really putting up a fight. She must really care about you. Still, that she's not doing this the right way. I think I finally figured out the contradiction. There's one final possibility that might turn everything around. She got all of them. What about the piece that was missing? Yeah. Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals the truth even if you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the chief's safe, but how? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it.
The witness just said testify that she gathered every last piece of wiped the blood off.
Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night of the prosecutor marshal was murdered, you were not the first one to show up at the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. This is spicy.
Couldn't suspensively missed a piece.
I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective.
So it may be well, but everyone makes mistakes, even when I once wasted an entire day.
Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, there's no way the name could be written on the jar, shattered jar, so somebody else had to be there first.
But beyond implying the person was Chief Gant, at the time he was looking for Dark downstairs besides, even if he was there first.
The question is, if he did arrive first, why did he hide the fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that?
No.
Why is he on trial? What are we doing here? This is like so backwards, but it's I guess entertainment.
Wait, I'm not the one on trial here.
Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposely hid one of the broken pieces. Question, what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. Why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear?
What happened afterwards?
Discovering the scene, Lana Sky believed her sister killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma. Therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Sky became the Chief's puppet. Where she bit her thumb. That's not nice at all. No, I did it on my own. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the Chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. That wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies?
I guess you seem the type who likes to twist the truth.
Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap?
Is something wrong, Mr. Wright?
Lana, maybe right after all.
What do you mean, right?
So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? Miss Sky, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall, Miss Sky, if you will. I can't... There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will if you tell the truth. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw.
All right, the witness may testify once more for the final time.
Here we go. Here we go. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on the suit of armor of the sword. Him and Dark were lying on the floor unconscious nearby. When I saw what had happened, though, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me move the body from the sword and carry it. If it was all fabrication, Emma might be innocent.
Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armor sword.
You were the only one who saw that, if you only had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What, to me? It's a picture I took at the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving the picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture.
Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? Seems to remember getting something from her then. It's this, right? Hello. Hey, there's a picture here. Oh my, this is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this. Because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I'd rearranged everything. Mr. Wright, that piece cut out from his vest, that could be the cloth that was found inside Grant's safe. What's this? Oh, it's the fingerprint with her name on it. That cloth had her fingerprints on it. Whoever's fingerprints, those must be the real murderer. What? But those fingerprints, they're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. As long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flesh out the real murderer.
Very well.
Let's begin the cross-examination. Do I have to just show her the cloth and call it a day? Alright, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on the suit of armor sword. I didn't get to do that. He's back. Come on now, Nudgy. This isn't the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen.
Chief Gant.
Will you make me out as a bad guy too? So I'd like to put a word or two in my defense. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back and relax, and enjoy the sound of a noose tightening around your own neck. Yep. Ah! So what do you think I'm wearing? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence.
Yes, that is true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence?
No, I don't. But someone does.
Someone.
What's your excuse, right, Dio? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt.
This is true, Mr. Wright.
If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as a murderer.
Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, please present out. If you try to conceal it, anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries.
I better think this through. Should I present the piece of evidence? The one that shows that who really killed Marshall. I mean, if I do... If I do, right? Because it says I finger her as a murderer. Or I place her as the murderer. I can't. And I can't show that. Because it's a fabricated piece of evidence. I can't show it. Nope. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time.
What? Chief Gant. You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence.
I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together.
Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it?
What are you talking about, Chief Gant?
Did you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It's like part of it's been cut off for some reason.
You mean you had this in your safe?
That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department.
Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had out of the call, rightio? Well, I can't really let you pin me as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened.
What do you mean? You admit to it?
We got him. I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. And then it occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that's when she saw the scene. She would ask for my aid.
So you assisted Miss Sky.
I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room.
I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted.
When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you.
2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe? But why?
For insurance, of course.
Insurance?
I'm sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. It wasn't about letting anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed.
I mean, you were calculating and far ahead of it while forging evidence.
What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make a police chief by dumb luck. This jar fragment. They had the most legible part of them as name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces.
But if you fabricated all the evidence, to say you didn't fabricate the message on the jar, too.
Ho 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 ho! Some people just don't know when they quit, do they? That's why I keep one more item for insurance.
You mean that piece of cloth?
Come on, Wright, cough it up already. I know you have it. Phoenix, what are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gantz, that you were hiding the cloth you cut from the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do all that, but being chief and all, but it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present.
Foolish move, Rightio. You should have shown it before it was too late. It's been a long battle, but the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess this up, the victory is mine. I don't know if I can show it still. Right? I don't think I can show it. This has been a long stream. I don't think I can show it. I can't show it. There's no way I can show it. No, it's too late to show the evidence now. Besides, even if I did, it just points the finger at the girl's fingerprints.
But think hard of the circumstances.
Circumstances,
I'm talking about then and now. There's one major difference between the two. But you're waiting for that difference.
So, I just figured out my plan. Mr. Wright, this is your only chance. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. You actually... Do I show this, though? Wait. I have to show it. I have no other option, right? Right? I have to show it. I have to show it. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut this out of the piece of the victim's vest. Oh yes, at last you finally brought it out in the open.
There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. One of the prosecution requests immediate sent to lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to have left so clearly.
You mean
it could not have been forged? Must have been authentic, conclusive evidence.
I think we're done. Oh, you're slow to wake up, take as ever, Worthy.
What?
Think about it, Rightio. Had this all the time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be?
You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that?
Mr. Wright, do you really know?
Whoever's fingerprints must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they?
I have to tell him, don't I? Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything proceeding is predicted. But if I mean, they are hers. Right? Right? I have to, yeah, it has to be her profile, right? There's no other alternative answer. It's gotta be, it's Emma's. We know it's Emma's. It has to be.
Emma Sky?
What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma, but why? Why didn't you tell me? Oh, ho, ho, ho. You're really something, right-io? You, this girl, did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me.
So it's true, tragic but true. This girl really did shove Professor Marshall to his death.
How could you monster?
Sky.
You knew those fingerprints were all along, and yet you acted like she really didn't. But Sky, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. But I'm afraid the trial's over, my boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter, Cat? Got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the only one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one thing I have to clear up. Oh, what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who is the real murderer is. You killed Neil Marshall's... Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask?
It was Emma Sky, wasn't it?
I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction.
What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about?
I'm talking about the contradiction one that proves who the real killer is.
Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict?
Well, the evidence that contradicts the piece of cloth. I think this has to be... Is it? Is it that? Is it the book now? Is it that? There's got to be something else here, right? Can I look at the... I can't do anything else about that. What about this picture? Is there anything special about this picture? Oh.
What exactly is it supposed to be?
This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. Yeah. See where the piece is cut out of the vest? Yeah.
Sure, showing underneath. It's hard to make out with the blood on his vest, though.
That's exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs are not were punctured. Both blood poured out of his mouth.
Over the piece of cloth. Wait, there's no blood on it.
Ah! Yep. Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on the cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time.
No, this is nonsense.
Now then, Chief Gantz, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled as he was shoved aside. He was most likely hit on the head on the ground as he was knocked. He was most likely hit his head on the ground as he was knocked out. So tell me this: who could have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Sky? Picked up an unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the armorer's sword. Then to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. The jar that they broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago, that you personally cut out the bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Though to every act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer.
No!
It's finally over. We did it. Took an hour, but we did it. Oh, frick off. Assuming this is Lana. That was close, Freddy. You almost had me. Sorry, but you have to do better than that to refute your allegations.
What do you mean refute his allegations?
See that piece of cloth as illegal evidence. Oh, this is the book.
Order. What is this nonsense?
Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Reggie? Earlier, radio here concealed that piece of cloth. Yes. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At the moment, a piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence.
That's not fair.
Did you actually think you could best me in court? Looks like the last left you, son. I'm afraid Miss Scarlett's claim is legally correct. Mr. Edgeworth.
True. Legal evidence cannot be used to convict a person, assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal.
Mr. Wright.
The book. Seems that's the first time to reveal my plan has finally arrived.
Do you admit to it? Did you purposely illegally conceal this piece?
Purposely and illegally conceal this piece of evidence? Did I purposely and illegally steal this piece of evidence? I don't think I did. No. Right? I'm good. Yeah, nope. I'm good. I admit, I refused to represent it at one point.
So the evidence is illegal.
No, it isn't, Mr. Gant.
Huh?
It's not that I didn't present the evidence then. It's that I couldn't.
What do you mean you couldn't? What do you mean you couldn't?
Sorry, I can't read. There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence.
No, Edgy, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. They can really lie.
There's only one issue left the trial to be resolved. Is this evidence legal or not?
Very well, so this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present this evidence. You can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now.
The book. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law.
What's this?
I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth and nothing more.
What?
You see, it's written right here in the book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying I did not have the approval from the police department. Rule 2, all unregistered evidence must be relevant to the case on trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at this time, it was impossible to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SO9 incident.
What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just look at this picture and...
Sorry, but can you recall, when was that picture presented?
It was shown only a few moments ago.
No, he's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave its value in the evidence was you. You, Damon Grant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of victim's vest. Oh.
No!
It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally proved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this cloth from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer, the only one who person could be, is Damon Gant. The killer was you.
That hurts really bad to do.
That's a tough thing.
I knew I shouldn't have got rid of him. A good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years, he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me.
Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty.
He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr and convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman. Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my chance to find out the truth. Please, you gotta help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit.
He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence.
Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he decided to speak out.
What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief?
We transferred the evidence out. There's too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker. He was talking about the evidence. He said, "It's not too late. I'm going to hand this all over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was taken a bit back by his words. I had a feeling when he came to see me, but never thought he'd be bringing up SO9. That's when I saw the accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out.
Doing so would have led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in it, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worried about so much on the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint. Detective Gumshoe's locker. It used to be known as the crime computer. But everyone has to start somewhere. I guess I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any better way to move the body. I broke into your trunk and it was a big deal. You made a lot more than you make a lot more than us detectives ever will. Ooh. Leaving the prosecution car aside, how could you get Miss Sky involved with all of this? Well, she had much to lose as did I if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from the Detective Goodman's locker. I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jar fragment in the glove. Yeah, looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than their committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They did their jobs well, much to my dismay. Taken evidence doesn't hold up very well in close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why do you still stand in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring down once and you try to go alone. Guess we got him. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Udgy. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend.
I'm sorry too, David Kent. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example for others of the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person.
Those days are gone now, Udgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Radio here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can go wrong. In fact, I hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning. And we're back. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes, first, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. See, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. And all that I've done these past 2 years, from the time Gant helped me forge evidence up until today.
So, it seems all the questions I've raised in the trial have been answered.
I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. What high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why I thought so highly of you. Who knows, maybe a few years from now you'll just make it to the top. She's smiling at me. Owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky. And you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of you ordeal's been for you. It was nothing. Liar. I was worried about the pressure might break you, and yet you rose above it and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth.
Stop it, I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examination is ordered for all of us. Miss Sky.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, in fact, you still acted as his accomplice. The trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date.
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
Is there something amusing about this? Why are you smiling?
It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of my heavy chains.
There we go. Well, this trial has gone far too long already. Regarding the case of murder, the court finds the defense of Miss Lana Sky
Not guilty. Yeah, we did it! Yay.
That is all. This court is adjourned.
Phew. There we go. The long ice is finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted of murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. It's just, now after the trial ended, I can see why Mia Faye thought highly of you. Oh, this is her. Yeah. She's happy. That's why. You know, I did my best too, but I didn't say a single word to me. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. And he's like, oh, I guess I am. See you later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe. What do you say? Oh, man. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making Detective run around all while on duty. On top of you call me here, I'm happy being... I'm only kidding.
Oh, are you here because of my sister again? Nope. Not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Lana? Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Oh. Well, I won't tell you if I won't. I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day 2 years ago was the first time in my life I've ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could do to think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Aunt to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared of what you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were always doing it for me. No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. I was hiding what I believed to be the truth. I was deceiving you. Sis, I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you didn't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma. Emma. Yay. Happy picture. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. That's why we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find the way back to our rightful path. And that is from there we can move forward to a brighter future. At least that's what I felt watching those two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe. Me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right? Edgeworth? Edgeworth, stop hiding and come over here. He's just scowling. Where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right, well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth? Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. So as criminals, you can feel it. You and me were the same. Yeah. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them, but in order to fight crime on my own, I needed a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows, given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. The thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecution. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime, but they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright, and because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? What? Yeah. This pop quiz? Come on, right, Mr. Wright. Show him what Lana's talking about. Evidence, huh? Something that Edgeworth nor I would be able to find on our own. I don't see how it has anything with our partnership, huh? That's right, it seems you have a lot to learn as well. I guess that wasn't the right piece of evidence? It's time for me to go. What was the right piece of evidence? If you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth, wait, what do you do now? Whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor inside of you. Or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know it seems I owe you my thanks too, right? What I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. I better be going too. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. See
Seems we both have a lot of learning and catching up to do. Yeah, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation? It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis, I will. And that's it. And so another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time to start a new journey on my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't you go track it off and get set, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter that needs to be resolved by the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here's the one who would be footing the bill. Huh? You think I can afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Huh? Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Why is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? Yeah, it's a great idea. Come on, guys, let's go. I don't know why I'm doing it. Alright. Guys, thank you for watching this incredibly long series, and sorry about all of the, Oh, a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. Hope she'll be pleased to study under a top coroner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days as prosecutor's office. Still, I managed to find my way back to the field somehow. Then, I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Yeah, it's been a crazy one, particularly all of this, but sorry for the really long episode, but I think it's really important that it's all together. That's why I skipped the taking the break at 30 minutes in. I mean, I figured this would be half an hour, but yeah, it's what it is. Yes, I thought I was a goner for the moment there. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation of Chief Office. If we penalized you for any more, it would be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show, you can't shake me off that easily. So he's back on. This is just a long thing at the end, huh? Yeah. I guess we'll figure out what's going on here. But yeah, I am expecting to do more. I will probably continue with Phoenix Wright the second game here in a little bit. So we'll see what happens with that. My new mission is to guard the main entrance to take care of the Billy. Can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard. My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. I'll show him, though. Someday I'm going to make a detective. Yes, sir. Then I can be just as like that Dick Gumshoe. I don't know why you wouldn't be like Gumshoe, but yeah. This is an interesting extra, like, part of the game. It definitely took a lot more out of me. This was a tough like episode to do. So I'm glad we did it, though. I'm glad we did it, though. It just was kind of long and tedious, so I apologize for the length of these. I'm sorry I'm not super intelligent and know the answers to everything. Oh, it broke! No, that's actually probably the best thing for it. Let it die a slow and painful death before it causes another murder thing to happen. But I really appreciate you guys hanging out watching the series. We'll be back with the second game in sometime really soon, so make sure you stay up to date on it. What is it? Can't you see I'm having to make a showdown with the steak lunch partner? Miss Star manager sneaking with this into me. She's seeing one of the guards, it seems. Well, cowboy, it looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. Can you make sure that Billy and the gang get their water? No, we're not going to make sure they get their water. That's what the other guy's job is. Not ours. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. It's a farewell gift. I put a new meal on the menu. The right way will lunch. Top layer tastes like a bit bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer is as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's hot cellar around exam time. Just make sure it's not to eat it backwards. Yeah, that would be bad. It's bitter than the
Yeah, sweet to bitter is not a good combination. Yeah. We have plenty more of this to come around, so make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more. As I will say, this and many other series like it are on twitch.tv/chaos6. Links in the description down below, so please go follow that.
Don't forget what your defense lawyer said after the trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left? Anyway, he said he's been doing something or other for, how many years? Anyway, I've got another trial against you, so I'd better be... Huh? Oh no, I forgot my gravel. Sorry, I gotta go.
Yeah. So as I was saying, the description has all my links if you want to follow me on other platforms and see what's going on. That'd be a great way to keep up to date with everything. You never know what we're going to be doing over there, so please check it out. There's my channels, there's the other content creators on the channel as well, so please go check us all out. I just want to let you guys know. Oh, this is Maya. Nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. So sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objection. Still, I can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium. Mr. Maya, afternoon training's about to begin. Coming. Well, see you around, Nick. I don't know what I was saying, but it was something really profound and useful. That's all I know is saying something profound and useful. Yeah, we put a lot of effort into finishing this episode. It's been almost an 8-hour stream at this point, which is kind of crazy for me because I don't do that by any stretch of the imagination. But this was just such a long part of the game to go through that it took a while to do each section. So important that we did it, but yeah, I put a lot of effort. So I hope you enjoyed it. Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth. I brought you your tea. Huh? What's this? What's going on? It's a letter of resignation, maybe. Alright, how long is this closing cutscene? I don't know. But I don't know who's in the next game if it's not Edgeworth. I know there's like an Edgeworth like spin-off game or something, but I'm not sure what it is. Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book. And we open the book into something. Yep. And it's a picture of them together. That's good. All right. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. Whew. Hey, everybody. I just wanted to touch a few thoughts that I had after this series was done on the Twitch side of things and the video was recorded. The things have changed since recording this video, so I will not be continuing on the Phoenix Wright trilogy, at least here on the channel. So if you want to watch it, I would suggest you go over to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/chaos6. That's the best place to see this series continue. That link is in the description, as well as the rest of our creators. So please go check all of them out. I would appreciate it. I just don't want to continue posting it here. I want to keep playing it, but I want to take a little bit of a break and do something else for a little bit. I mean, we did do 26 episodes, so it is pretty much a full-length series in and of itself with just one game. So let's take a little bit of a break like we've done in the past and we get through a game or a section of game, and then we'll come back to it at some point. So right now, this is going to be it for the series. I'll let you know if it decides to come back at some point. But for now, thank you for enjoying Phoenix Wright. I've honestly loved it. I think this is one of my favorite series, if not my favorite series that I've done on the channel, and maybe even my favorite series on the channel that I've done personally. So of all time, not just on the channel, but of all time. I love this game. I've had a great time. I hope you have really enjoyed it because it's been a blast, especially for me. So if you guys like it, let me know. If you want to see something else, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And thank you for supporting the channel and supporting the series. BB always. Timestamps in the description below, in the comments below. And I will catch you all in the next one. So until then, my name is Chaos, signing off. Stay safe. And as always, braided out.